What's up, everybody? It's Jason Cruz here once again with another episode of The Legal Submission. And this time we're going to look at a case that has been going under the radar and is filed by the WWE against the Texas Attorney General. And it relates to WWE trying to block a public records request by the website WrestleNomics, which I've been on before and is a very good site, as far as the request for records from the city of San Antonio as to how it obtained Royal Rumble 2023. And the city officials were granted an exemption from the state attorney's general office, which allowed them to withhold the bidding contract. So basically, there was a request made, and the state attorney general office said, you know what, you don't have to disclose this information. It could be confidential. However, the attorney general, so that was city officials, but then the attorney general revised its decision almost a year later, in January 2024, which stated that WWE failed to provide specific factual evidence demonstrating the information at issue is confidential under Texas public information law. So that's an interesting thing, because you never see the AG overturn a records request to keep something, to disclose something to the public. Now, it goes with the public information law and how it is interpreted. Now, WWE had indicated that the information, which I believe is the communications between City of San Antonio and the WWE as far as coordinating the bidding contracts, how and who would be paying for what, things of that nature. Now, obviously, as taxpayers, if you're in the city of San Antonio, you would like to know, since I believe the Alamo Dome is city funded, how the city is managing these projects. And we have been told that the WWE obtains site fees from these different cities in terms of the city paying the WWE to hold an event at that venue. Now, there could be other information in there as it relates to a breakdown of splitting of merchandise sales, concession sales, parking sales, things of that nature. So that's what probably was requested by WrestleNomics, and the question is whether that information would fall within the ambit of the public information law and therefore needed to be disclosed. The AG had decided that the WWE did not provide anything of material factual evidence that would show that it's confidential information. Obviously, WWE doesn't want anyone to know how they conduct its business, how they deal with vendors, how they deal with cities, municipalities, things of that nature. WWE, once it heard of the January 17th, 2024 ruling, which overruled the previous exemption, filed a lawsuit. Now, the lawsuit was filed earlier this year. The Attorney General for the state of Texas had not responded to the lawsuit. So usually when you file a lawsuit, the opposing party being sued, once served properly, is given, I believe, 30 days to respond. Now, WWE was very strict on this. The WWE filed for a default, which is the correct way of doing things. If within 30 days, or if in 30 days that the sued party does not respond, then the party that did sue, which would be WWE, can file a motion for default and obtain a judgment in their favor for whatever they were asking for. So that was the case. Looking at the court's calendar, WWE is pretty swift. A couple days after the 30-day imposition, it went and filed for a default. There was going to be a hearing in May, in late May, as far as whether or not the state of Texas had answered. And prior to the hearing, lo and behold, the state of Texas does answer, and it essentially responds to the WWE lawsuit by denying that the WWE had a right to request that the information sought would be confidential. And therefore, interesting enough, the state of Texas says we have a right to disclose this information under Texas law. Which brings us to what WrestleNomics has nice of them, and by the way, you should subscribe to them. WrestleNomics has disclosed on its website a letter that WWE's lawyers had sent the AG as well as Brandon Thurston, and essentially it states that they believe that their information should be determined to be a trade secret. Now, reading from the letter dated May 31st, 2024, the document Mr. Thurston sought in his January 2023 request, which is the subject of WWE versus Paxton, which Paxton is the AG of Texas, is swept up in this request as well. The Alamo Dual License Agreement between the WWE and the city of San Antonio for WWE's 2023 Royal Rumble. This agreement, along with Event Support Agreement, which is also included in this production, set forth the terms WWE and the city negotiated for WWE to hold its 2023 Royal Rumble event at the Alamo Dome in January 2023. The confidential documents and contracts between WWE and the city reveal sensitive proprietary information that should not be subject to disclosure. So here again, WWE is making a fairly broad request, and that's what you would expect in these types of cases, is that if you do not want competitors such as AEW excuse me, to obtain the information and figure out how you are dealing with these municipalities for events, then you say this information is sensitive and proprietary. From the opposing side, certainly the city of San Antonio is a municipality in which citizens pay taxes to the city. I'm just guessing. I don't know, I'm not a city of San Antonio resident, but I assume just like every municipality, someone's paying taxes for something. And if you are a taxpayer, there is an argument that you have a right to know what your city is doing in terms of negotiating contracts with an entity that will be reaping the benefits of your area. Now, the reason why site fees are paid for by cities is because they want the influx of tourism. That's kind of the whole trickle-down theory of how it would be. You have an event, you pay for someone to come in to hold an event, and then the trickle-down of the events commerce, the vendors, to the hotel rooms, to the rental cars, to the parking, to the restaurants, bars, all of that stuff, you assume is a positive for the commerce within the city, and that is why there is a premium that the WWE can charge. Same with the UFC. They are looking for site fees to hold their events. They aren't specifically looking to go to specific cities unless there's some sort of enticement. We've heard TKO Group already talk about this, that one of the things that they're capitalizing right now on with respect to growth is obtaining site fees. We'll see in a couple, less than 10 days, maybe a little, something like that. UFC will be in Saudi Arabia, and the PIF, the Saudis are paying a handsome amount of money for the UFC to come to hold an event in the kingdom. And from what we understand, assuming this is successful, and we have no reason to believe that the UFC is not going to be successful in Saudi, they will extend a longer-term deal with the Saudis will with the UFC, meaning more money to come to the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia. We've seen this with the WWE doing this as well. Now, coming back to this case here in the city of San Antonio documents, the WWE does not want people to know how much they charge, what they charge, the business structure of it. Again, one, for competitors. Two, it may you see a backlash of concern from consumers, fans, things of that nature. Now, the other thing that the WWE's attorneys have requested is that if they are not going to be able to conceal these documents or provide them as confidential or indicate that they're confidential, then they would redact portions. They would request to redact portions of the documents, which I believe would be the most beneficial thing, is to redact. But of course, the problems with redaction is then the guessing game goes on as to what information is being redacted, how it's being redacted. Then the argument of, well, should X, Y, and Z be redacted? You could get pages and pages of just redacted black marks without being able to see what it says. So that there's that game that we could possibly see as well. So from there, also WrestleNomics had sent a letter on June 11th, which is my objective, for Thurston says, is to ensure transparency from the city of San Antonio and the office of the governor regarding the government's spending on WWE's Royal Rumble event in 2023. This transparency serves the public interest by allowing taxpayers to evaluate whether their money was wisely spent and if the price paid aligns with other site fees and the economic impacts of similar events. Boom. That is basically the entire argument for why, not just the WWE event here, but the UFC, why these entities should be able to show the public what they're doing. They're making a lot of money. There's no mistake about it. People are willing to buy the pay-per-views. They're willing to buy subscribe to the Peacock Network. They're willing to do all of these things. Transparency should be key transparency is key in order to instill trust in your consumers. I would think that would be the issue. Now, a lot of people will say, don't bug them. They're doing their business. Well, it's unfair to one, the public, and two, people within the industry to wall off this information if they are working with public entities. Now, if it could be another thing if you were talking about private rights and things of this nature. But how many times have we seen owners wanting to partner up with cities to build these stadiums or build build an arena or build a park or build something? And what these developers want to do is partner with the city, i.e. Obtain favorable tax credits, favorable tax subsidies, requesting money from these municipalities. These are the things that we really don't think about when we're thinking about sporting events in certain places. We saw that from the WWE's perspective, that the Vegas came in at the last second to arrest the WrestleMania next year, WrestleMania 41, ahead of Minnesota, which Minnesota, the U.S. Bank, I believe, stadium where the Vikings play, was supposed to be the front runner for WrestleMania 41 to be held next April, this upcoming April 2025. But as we saw, and you can infer, Vegas stepped in and probably gave much more of a lucrative proposal to WWE to hold it there. Now, the consolation for Minnesota is they do get SummerSlam for 2 nights in August of 2025. But going back to our point again with this case that's happening in Texas, we will see what the court says as far as these documents. Now, again, this lawsuit doesn't have to deal with money damages, so they're really mainly discussing whether or not this information should be public or not. And I think that it's an important ruling. And in this stage where we see less and less states disclosing salaries and things of that nature, I think it's important that we as consumers and taxpayers are able to see what's going on behind the curtain if taxpayers and consumers are paying. This is Jason Cruz for MMA Payout and Legal Submission. Have a good day.